welcome to another rousing episode of the World 1-1 podcast. I am your intro host for the evening. I am Larry, the Red Velvet Nordic Beast. With us we have, as always, Eddie V, the Chocolate Wonder Thunder from Down Under, and also joining us is the Lord of the DNA Podcast Network, Corey Deering.
Yay!
Yay! I made it.
The Blue-Eyed Beast. My boss has welcome back. Well, welcome, actually.
And I feel like we've done like 5 podcasts this week.
Dude, I did like 7 podcasts last week.
I'm here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. I kind of wrote it off as a dead issue, like I told you, because it was like 6 months that we had talked about stringing our show into DNA, and then it just kind of fell off the map, and I'm like, I guess it wasn't going, and I got a message from Corey here about a week ago. It's like, hey, I got your shit added.
Yeah, I was yeah, I should probably do this since I told them I was going to, and then I got super busy, and then we were planning a whole bunch of other stuff coming up, and then I was like, I got some time. I should probably finally do this. And I did it.
Yay!
So,
I still have my bosses here.
Yes.
Yay! Woo!
So, for those that are not coming into this show from the DNA Network, tell everybody a little bit about DNA Network, what all you guys do, what all you host, and, content and all the other fun stuff. It's your chance to shamelessly plug your network.
Oh, geez. Okay, so DNA Network, all of our content is on DNAnetwork.net and YouTube and our podcasts and stuff. Basically, we started out as like one gaming podcast, and then we were like, oh, well, we could probably grow this and make it bigger. And so we do a Nintendo show called Pal Block, which is now on podcast services. We do NGO Radio, which is probably our flagship podcast at this point, I would call it. And it's our big community show that me and Matthew Keel host, and Ed's on there all the time. And we got to get you on there.
Whenever you're ready.
And then we have a couple more things planned. My friend Cameron, who used to produce a lot of our shows, is coming back, and we're going to start doing some cool things revolving around Let's Plays. Ed, I've talked to you a little bit about stuff, and we actually did that Halo one a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
That I still need to publish, but it's basically like a Let's Play and podcast type thing where we kind of just play a game together and talk about stuff and stuff like that. And it's really just a combination of a bunch of podcasts and YouTube shows and Let's Plays and articles and just blogging and stuff like that. So it's kind of what the DNA Network is. It's just a positive place for people to come hang out and talk about games and
Connect.
Yeah. Connect. It's a good word.
Yes.
So that's the DNA Network in a nutshell.
Well, right on. We're glad to finally get the show up there, and we hope that some of the folks off of your network are joining us for the first time finally. So yeah, and I've been trying to, like, every time a new show goes up, I post it on the website, and then from the website, it automatically sends it out through our social media stuff. So if you want to follow us on social media, it's whatever social media you're on / the DNA Network. So I made it nice and easy for everyone. Yay. Which I'm really surprised nobody had that, which was weird, but nobody did, so I win, I guess. There you go.
So everybody, I will be taking over hosting duties. Thank you, Larry, for that intro. Always doing an amazing job.
Speaking of hosts, where is Adrian? I'm going to slap him.
Do you know what? Adrian's been...
more absent
than present these days.
Yeah,
I don't care if he's making his fancy games. I don't care if he's like, playing Splatoon. I need him here. I will drive to Canada. I'll find my passport and drive to Canada. Slap him around a little bit.
Well, the Minister of Maple...
Let him know that he's being called out.
Yeah. The Minister of Maple has a lot of stuff going on Sundays. So
Yeah. I'm just messing with him. I am excited for... What's his new game? Bugs Are Stupid? That's his new game?
I guess. But, I have not one idea.
Yeah, so I am excited to play that, though. Put it on Switch.
Good luck with that.
I told him I told him what he should have added to a Tune Cycle for DLC, but he said no.
What should he add to Tuna Cycle as DLC?
Oh, get ready for this craziness.
There could have been great little theme packs. Instead of just, getting ready to go out for a date, they could be getting ready to go out for all kinds of different, theme stuff. Like, a night out at the movies where instead of, collecting the top hat and the cane and the monocle, you're collecting a theater ticket and a bucket of popcorn and some Twizzlers. Or, beside heading out to a fetish night and he's collecting a ball gag and a crop.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I told you to be ready.
99-cent DLC, there you go, kids.
And like we say, this is why we're a train wreck of professionalism. But everybody, we're going to get off with the show, like we normally do. We're going to go to our guest. Corey, what have you been playing?
I've been playing so much Twilight Princess HD.
Yes.
Okay, so there's like this running joke that Twilight Princess is the best Zelda game, and everybody makes fun of me for it. But I've been playing it, and yeah, the open world is kind of empty, and yeah, every time you go into a new area, it loads into a new area. But those dungeons are so good. Those dungeons are just so much fun, and when you figure something out, it's simple enough, but when you figure it out, you feel really smart. And I'm just getting to the Death Mountain dungeon. So I've been playing a lot of that. I'm about 10 hours in, I would say, 10-ish, and I've been looking for all this. And now, in the HD version, they added a new collectible called Stamps.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize that until I found one, and now I have to go back and find all the stamps, and it's ridiculous.
So this has made the game longer.
Yeah, but, and I missed 2, and I can't get back into that dungeon until I get the hook shot, and it's really messing with my head.
Oh.
I still think Twilight was my favorite 3D Zelda up until this point, at least.
See, I'm not the only one.
No, you're not. I think it was fantastic, honestly. I think the story was great. I loved Midna as a side character, as an assist character. She was fantastic and snarky.
Yeah.
A roiling badass when you got all of the crown.
Yeah, and I like Midna too, and at the end of the game, I'm not going to spoil anything since they just kind of re-released it, and they kind of want you to play it right now for Breath of the Wild and that Amiibo.
All you want. That game is 10 years old.
Okay, spoiler alert. The end of the game...
No. The game is still available if you don't own it.
It's a 10-year-old game if you haven't played it.
Guess what? Get your Wii U to find someone who's selling theirs and pick up the game. We're not going to ruin it. This one, we're not going to ruin it. If you want to
not play Twilight Princess at this point, this is your own fault.
Yes. So we're not. You have 3 ways to get it. You have GameCube. No, 4 ways. You have GameCube. You have Wii. You have Wii U. And for some illegal people,
it's just 3.
For some not downloading people, there's a PC emulation. I've been listening to Retro Force Go. It took for me I not downloaded the game. So, that's the way that you could get it. But yeah, we're not going to ruin the ending of the game because I still need to beat it.
So I've been playing a lot of Twilight Princess HD. I've been playing a little bit of Mario Kart 8. I'm super excited for the new stuff on Switch, so I'm trying to get my Mario Kart
game back up to snuff, you know. And then what else was I playing? I was playing something on 3DS. Oh, I'm trying to finish Box Boy so I can move on to Box Boy.
Game that I still need to pick up.
It's so good. Box Boy is so good.
Yes.
Oh, it's just so simple and fun, and I really don't know how to explain it, like, the feeling it gives you when you solve a puzzle where, like, you use the minimum amount of blocks to get through the puzzle, and you found all the crowns in the level before you move on to the next one, and you just feel like, and if you mess up, it sucks, because it takes away your boxes, and you need to conserve boxes for the harder levels. It's kind of like, there's this indie game on Xbox 360 called N+, and I think PS4 has.
Oh my god, I love N+.
Yeah, I was so iffy about that game.
I bought that on DS years ago, and it was phenomenal.
Because it came out.
And took away the level creation because people were making giant swastika levels.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
And like, it gives you that sense that N+ and N++ do, where you need to conserve. Like, you want to get all the gold coins or whatever they are in the levels, and like, the more you collect, the gold coins add to your time bar, but at the same time, you're like, well, am I spending too much time trying to get, once you get to the harder levels, are you spending too much time trying to get these gold coins, and so it's hindering your time? And it's that kind of balance that I feel in Box Boy, when you're trying to use the right amount of blocks. It's just so good. It's so good, and it makes you feel good when you've conserved your boxes too. And all the stupid little costumes you get in that game, like the rapper, the rapper costume's really funny, or like there's another one in there that was really funny, like a colonial wig and some glasses, and like it's funny, it's good.
It's such a good game, such a good game, and
it's only $5, so like, It's one of the best $5 games I've ever played.
But it wrecks my mind, because I'd be like, I need to get the crown and solve the level. And it sucks when I can't get that crown. Just be like, I have to come back and figure it out. But yeah, I love Box Boy.
Yeah, so other than that, that's kind of all I've been playing. Overwatch also.
All right. And Larry, what have you been playing?
I've been playing all the adulting. Oh, God. My time has been on the very, very limited side, tragically, this week. Way too much shit going on. That being said, more than anything, I've probably just been watching a whole lot of Twitch. See, half of that is just because my wife will actually put on various Twitch feeds of Metroid this and that because she likes watching it.
Uh-huh.
I can't get her to play it, but she loves to sit and watch it. I did pick up one or two goodies this week, though, just because I found them like, oh, that's cheap, and I don't have it yet. I found a copy of Sunset Overdrive, brand new, day one edition at Walmart for $9. So I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah, sweet.
So much fun.
It's on the list. But that, and I went and I put down a couple more reserves for my Switch. I managed to get the last Pro Controller reserve at my local GameStop. Dropped a couple bucks to reserve Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, because the launch copies are supposed to have some extra goodies in there, and I'm intrigued. So, branching out of my box a little bit, and I'm also reserving Has Been Heroes because it looks interesting.
See, I thought that was a digital game only.
Physical copy.
Yeah, there's a physical copy. I pre-ordered it too.
Is it for $20? The physical copy?
I think
so.
I think. Hold on. I got my receipt right here. Let's see. Hold on. It's $19.99.
Okay, so it is 20. Okay.
Yeah. The first budget Switch game. There you go.
Yeah, it'll be gone by then. People would
But
buy
it looks so good. I wish GameStop would put the other game on there. That the one that they put out earlier. What was that name? It was like yeah, that one. I wish they would put that on Switch, but.
Well, we'll see.
I wish everything was on Switch though, so I don't even know what I'm talking about.
We'll have that discussion another time. But
I think we've had a discussion 3 times in the last week without podcast.
Yes. Yeah, Friday night for the last 2 weeks we had that discussion. Okay, so let me explain to me, and now I'll get to what I've been playing and what I picked up also. Explain to me about, I think you complained about the Zelda collection. They threw it online. And
yeah. I'm sorry, this is a raging pile of horse shit. The evening of the Switch reveal, right after, GameStop put reserves available on their website for Breath of the Wild Master Edition. You know, all the stuff that's in the special edition, like a little statue of the ruined Master Sword and all that.
Yes.
I wanted it. I was happily going to drop money for that.
Yeah.
And as Eddie well knows, because I recorded the Switch episode from my car because I was happily camped out in front of GameStop all fucking night, so I could, you know, be first in line. First in line, 10 a.m., the door opens, and basically the first thing he tells me is that, yeah, there's no Master Edition reserves available. They were all gone online. They did not to go to the stores when they opened.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was second in line, and I went to pre-order. I was like, I want to pre-order the Zelda Master Edition. They're like, we're not taking pre-orders. And I'm like, why not? They're like, I don't know. They said that we weren't getting any. I'm like,
they put them all online and they fucking sold out before they even opened doors.
Which doesn't make any sense. Like, you would think you would want to allocate some to the stores in the first place,
right? Because
like,
now they have to.
I mean, because that's what they're doing to Switches. They're canceling online orders to give more allocation to the stores. So why wouldn't you do that for that?
But don't you have to pay the whole thing online?
Yeah, but they don't charge you until it ships. It's the Amazon thing where, like, they don't charge you until it's processed and shipped.
Because I know because I know they take the money out of my account when I actually order it. Like, when I confirm it, then they actually take the money out. So when they ship it, there's no problem. But that's so weird. Like,
yeah, and it really made me mad because, like, they did that to me too with the Majora's Mask Special Edition when it came out for 3DS. Like, I really wanted that Skull Kid statue, and they were like, oh, we're not taking pre-orders on it. I'm like, but it's like, it just makes me mad because there's online. Okay, yeah, I understand people are going to go online, but there's tons of people that still go to stores, and like, that's the reason why I pre-ordered my Switch in store, because I mean, everybody who listens to anything that I'm on knows how much I absolutely love GameStop. And, you know, I pre-ordered my Switch in store because you're guaranteed to get it in store, whereas online they can cancel at any time because they don't have enough to allocate. And so that's why I went, and I think they should do that for special editions too. And like, it's not like the Halo 5 collector's edition where you can walk into Best Buy and there's going to be 300 of them sitting there, and then they're going to be $30 on Amazon 6 months later. Like, Nintendo, when they say this is a collector's edition, it is a real collector's edition, and
right.
That just sucks that you can't say, oh, well, I'm a huge Zelda fan, I can't go to the store and pre-order this. And it sucks. And it sucks even worse for people who live in rural parts of the country and like don't have great internet. They can't sit there and refresh their computer every 5 seconds. And like, I was on Amazon's website and I was on GameStop's refreshing, and it said it went from this item is not yet available to this item is unavailable. And I was like, come on, really? I refreshed and it took 3 seconds to refresh the page, and you tell me they're all gone already?
And so many people are going to be trying to resell it at a higher price. I'm just like,
yeah, I mean, people are already trying to resell it, like, by like $250 and $300. And like, I like it, but I'm not going to go pre-order. I'm not going to go pre-order someone else's pre-order on eBay because I want this thing so bad.
We're going to have had a discussion about that. Like, people reselling like new products. Because they did that with PS3. They did that with 360. Like, with every new console, they always do it. What'd you say, Larry?
But scalpers will forever be a thing. It's just what it is.
But it's just like... I don't know. It just feels so unfair that it'd be like 10 of them in line, and they already have a set on how many they're going to get, so then they can put it online. And like, set at a high price, because that's what they did with the PS3. And I'm just like, it's already $600. Why would people pay more to get a system that, we could just wait in store for it to restock?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and like,
the thing is, these aren't going to restock.
Yeah, and like I went to go pre-order my Pro controller, and I didn't get a Pro controller. My GameStop sold out, and like, I don't know how long it took them to sell out, but I was there like an hour after they opened, and they were like, we're sold out, and I don't know, it just makes me mad. But like, controllers you're always going to be able to get, but like this really cool special edition, and like, America never gets Nintendo collector's editions ever.
Yes.
Ever. And this was the one that I was like, I want this more. That I would trade everything in this game room right now for some Zelda stuff, that like some Zelda special edition stuff. And it just sucks that we can't do that.
Mm.
Yeah. They lost money. I'm like, yeah, I want to reserve Master Edition. We're out. Fuck it. I'm getting standard then. You don't want the collectors, the little in between? No. Like, yeah, the Master Edition, base edition. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah, I don't care about any of the other stuff in there. Like, I mean, I do. It's cool looking, but I'm not gonna pay $100 for a little bag to put my Switch in. Like, I can go online and buy one that's cooler that somebody else either made or Amazon selling, that's like way cooler than what you're giving me.
Or just wait for Japan, because shoot, you can order stuff from Japan and probably you might have to pay a little bit more, but it's just like, if it's the same stuff and the game's just different, I'll just keep the game as a collector's item and just make and have the American version and get all the stuff that we Americans got. So, well, I actually ordered Super Mario, Puzzles and Dragons and Super Mario Brothers Puzzles and Dragons. I've been playing that. Really, really good game. Should have brought it when it came out, but just didn't. And it just came on my mind. I was just like, I got to get it. So I ordered that. I ordered the book Console Wars by Blake Harris. I'll start reading that in a couple of weeks. But I picked up Resident Evil 7 and started it. And I have got to say that it's good. It really is good. I have to say that. As for it being scary, I'm not scared. I was just like, oh, okay, it's bloody, it's brown and haunting, I guess, but I'm like, it does nothing for me. And I'm playing the Xbox One version, so I'm not doing the VR or anything like that. I can play it in the dark if I want to, but I'm just like, well. And some of the character models keep reminding me of, you guys could be placed in House of the Dead arcade cabinet, and you wouldn't know the difference. But just like some HD graphics and a little bit more better textures. But other than that, I think that's all I actually have been playing. I've been installing stuff and playing. The Walking Dead season 1. I started up, and I think I'm still on the first episode, so I'm almost done with that. Really good game. I think I still like the Batman Telltale series. I think I still like that, but this Walking Dead one is really good. It's not that bad. So that's what I've been playing, and I actually picked up. So we're going to get into our topic of this episode, and let me find this article, and it's titled, give me 1 second, Study of Video Games. It's another study one that we talk about the cover. It says, study. Video games are among the most popular ways for men to cope with stress. And it's a very interesting read. You could read it on heatstreet.com, and you'll be able to find the article. And it's this was conducted by the University College London, and it said that 29% of the males that participated in this study listed that video games were their main coping method, where 18% of women use video games to cope with stress. compared to, or really more contrast, that women 59% of the women who took them part of this study, 52?
52, I'm looking at notes.
Yes. 52% of the study of women who participated, sorry about that, they used prescription pills, where 27% of men of that same study used prescription pills, but they both said their main method to cope with stress is with friends. It's talking with friends. So I kind of want to ask you guys, first off, how do you cope in video games? I mean, not video games. How do you cope with stress when things get stressful? Like, how do you deal with it?
Corey, I'm going to let you head this up.
So how do I cope with stress in terms of video games?
Yes.
Just in general.
Like, okay, so I used to play a lot of multiplayer games to cope with stress, and like a lot of competitive multiplayer. Then I just figured out that just made me even more stressed out. So I stopped doing that for a stress relief, and I ended up turning to games like Tetris or Box Boy or Super Mario Brothers, just like, you know, an easier game that makes me like, it just takes the stress away. It's just a nice, easy game to just sit there and be like, take a deep breath and just do what's happening on screen. And I'm like, man, this is way less stressful than anything like, you know, playing Halo or Destiny multiplayer, and like, you know, even Twilight Princess, I've been using that as a stress relief. Like the last 3 days at work, I've worked, you know, probably worked 32 hours of the last 3 days, and Twilight Princess is a nice, relaxing way to just go fetch things, go collect bugs, go collect these stamps, complete a dungeon. You know, it's just, I try to find a game that I know is going to be less stressful than my day was, and that is not the competitive multiplayer shooter anymore. It's like, you know, people are always like, yeah, I just want to go home and shoot stuff when I play a multiplayer game. I'm like, yeah, but you get like 2 games in and you're even more stressed because you are too stressed to focus on the game, and you just get even more stressed because you're dying a lot, and it's just, no thanks, not anymore.
You risking all like, you have frustration from your stress, so why do you want to add more to it by playing a multiplayer shoot FPS?
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, I've been playing a lot. Like, Nintendo's a very good company that has a lot of games for me to relieve stress, and that's kind of what I've been doing lately. Is that? So.
And what about you, Larry?
My go-to comfort game is still Metroid Prime, just because it's not my favorite Metroid game, but it's one that I know well enough that I can pop it in and I don't have to think about it when I play it. It's generally soothing to me to just kind of wander around and go, missile tank, missile tank, missile tank, grab an artifact, there's a power-up, missile tank, missile tank, energy tank, oh, hey, there's a pretty thing, shoot the birds.
Well, I know for me, it's like just playing any kind of video game, but mostly something like Yoshi's Woolly World, or just, you know, something that I know that's not going to be taxing on me. I know I like playing like Final Fantasy 12. That was a good stress reliever because that grinding took my mind off of whatever problem or the situation was at hand. And of course, adding some nice music to it, like listening to the classical score of Final Fantasy 12, kind of like relaxes me. Where do you guys think that, by this study, do you think that some of those males were playing Grand Theft Auto and just probably putting in the cheat code in and just destroying stuff because they want to get that stress out, maybe that frustration and anger? Do you think Grand Theft Auto 5 or any of the Grand Theft Auto games, do you think those are good ones to use?
I think there's something fairly cathartic about that. It's not my cup of tea, but I get it. Just, you know, and not even just Grand Theft Auto, but really, if you think about it, much of anything in the sandbox realm, I could see being good for that for a lot of people.
And what about you, Corey?
I mean, for me, I would rather, like, if I'm super stressed out, I would rather have something just tell me where to go, like something like an Uncharted type game, or you know, I would rather have that linear path. I don't want to have to guess where to go or what to do next. And you know, I know Twilight Princess, I used that example earlier, but I guess that's kind of different because I've played that game so many times that I just kind of know where to go. But if I'm going to play a single player experience, I would rather just hop in and have it direct me where to go and have this like mindless fun. You know, Uncharted is the example I use because I played all three of those games within a couple weeks after being really stressed out at work. And, you know, it was fun playing on easy, shooting people and like walking to the next area, or there wasn't a lot of guesswork in it. And that's kind of what I aim for. That's just mindless. I don't want to have to think about it because being stressed and having to think about more stuff after everything I've had to do during the day makes me more stressed out for some reason. It's I don't know. I get stressed out kind of easily. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's just kind of like one of those things where I just want to have that mindless fun and mindless interaction with something. And, you know, sometimes it's not even playing the game. Sometimes it's just watching Twitch or watching people, Let's Plays on YouTube or something. People playing these games that I enjoy and you know, watching them do things. Then if I want to try that game, I can go try that game and try it the way that they did, or find a way that suits me. But, like, yeah, I just want that mindless interaction just to go. You know,
I know for me, I don't think Grand Theft Auto is a good stress reliever. I think that's something to take I think it's better to release your anger and your frustration in Grand Theft Auto. Like, I think when you're dealing with stress, of course you want something that's going to be easy that you can relax to. Like, if it's not a video game for me, I always tell people, if you're stressed out, watch a massage video. You know, they're kind of relaxing. You can hear the music or hear the sound effects. And I'm like, just something that's going to take it easier that you can look at, and it'll make you kind of sleepy, but it, you know, kind of relaxes your body to the point where you feel a little bit better that you could breathe and stuff. What did you think about the percentage of women taking prescription pills to cope? Because that, to me, it's so weird that people would use pills to cope with stress.
Welcome to the X Nation, good God, because, you know, I'm hearing on talking about politics again, and I'm trying to steer clear of it. But, you know, I'm sorry. We've raised a generation, a culture, and a society that doesn't know how to cope with anything. What do? Here, have a pill, feel better.
Or they'll smoke it, or like weed or something. It's just like, why can you not face the situation? Are you afraid of the consequence that's going to happen, or?
My God, my safe space.
Yeah, I know. My safe space.
Like,
jeez.
Like, I feel like that's a pill thing because, like, do that transform into addiction? Like, every time you get stressed, do you now need to always pop a pill for it? Like,
you do if you don't learn how to cope with life. You got one of two options. You can either learn to cope, or you can keep doing what you're doing.
I'm actually surprised it's only 52%.
But but it's still high with the men, like 27%. Like, they would do the same thing out of the study, and it's just like, so if you guys would rather do pills than you guys play video games. I mean, it's good that you guys are using video games to cope with your stress. And yeah, it's good that you're talking with friends, but I'm just like, that's a very high rate on both sides. 52% of the women. Oh, go ahead.
I'm also likely to go out to the bar, get a pitcher of beer, and shoot some pool too, though. So,
yeah,
it's not my only option. I know how to actually interact with people in society, and so I do that sometimes, and it makes me feel a little better.
Well, and I think that's the one that was just like they prefer talking with friends. So being social is the kind of the best way to cope with your stress. And it's really just talking about what's been on your mind, what you've been dealing with.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I'm actually, like I said, I'm kind of surprised that it's that low because I work in a restaurant. Everyone I deal with is like when they're stressed out, they pop a pill, or when they go outside, they smoke a cigarette. Like that's how they deal with their stress. And like that 52% seems low, but then again, like I don't know. It's just strange that like it's just this culture now that we have where a pill can fix anything you want it to, depending on whether it really does fix anything or not. And like, if the problem comes back, we just take another pill to relax, or like another pill to fall asleep, or another pill to relieve stress. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't take any pills to relax or anything. It's just like, I don't know. It just never.
You make your body have a dependency on something. So, instead of you, work talking it out or finding something that's going to make you relax, you depend on that. Your body depends on that pill when you get all stressed out or even overworked. So, sorry about that. I just find it fascinating. I'm just like, prescription pills for the study that they prefer to relieve stress. I'm like, what pill does that?
Xanax. That's your go-to. That magic blue bar.
That.
I mean, really, if I was going to take a pill to relieve stress, it would probably be Viagra, because at that point, I'm going to take it out on somebody, and I know I can go the distance. But,
I'll be on my way. I could go the distance. I could free. Okay, let me stop. I love Pocahontas. That's my movie. It's very weird though. Because I look, they didn't tell how many people actually took this test. But it would be interesting to see.
Find the size of that study if you dig for it, but I didn't dig that. I just thought it was interesting.
Well, I do want to say, okay, in the story it says the research serves as a strong rebuke to those who claim that video games carry no social purpose, especially for men and a significant percentage of women, many of whom play online video games for both social interaction and relaxation. In addition to cooperative online games like Destiny and World of Warcraft, even competitive video games serve as venues for social engagement and establishing friendships, especially in the communities that revolve around them. It certainly goes against the common belief that video games are murder simulators for male-adjusted psychopathy. Because anytime it comes to a study with video games, and me and Larry talked about this, Grand Theft Auto always come up, and the studies all about do violent video games make other people make you violent or aggressive or stuff like that? And not necessarily it does. Because I feel like personally, I'm just like, it's a video game. You might get into it because you're winning at the point, but since it just depends on the person, that actual person who plays it. It doesn't speak for every gamer that if you play a video game, you become aggressive. That doesn't happen. I don't become aggressive when I'm playing Yoshi's Woolly World or Kirby's Epic Yarn. You know, I don't get aggressive by playing Tetris. Like, do I want to drive my car and hit somebody after I play Mario Kart? No, because my thing is I'm having fun.
Yeah, so, and that's like the big thing that I've had to like do lately in my gaming life, where like, you know, I used to be super into Halo. I was into Halo for a long time, and I was into Gears of War for a long time. And as I got older, I found myself having less fun with games like that and more fun with games like, I don't know, like the Lego games or like Nintendo games or, you know, challenging games like Bastion or N++, or, you know, getting away from that competitive shooters. And don't get me wrong, I still love Gears of War and Overwatch, and God knows I played enough Destiny the last 2 years, but you know, I've found that games with a less competitive edge, I should say, have provided me more fun in the last few years, and I found myself more in the, I want to play this fun little experience, or I want to have this co-op experience with friends other than like this competitive, because like being competitive, there's so much stress that comes with being competitive, you know, and the older you get, like the older, like as I'm getting older, like I have less time to be stressed. I don't want to be stressed because, you know, there's so many other things that I would like to enjoy in my life that I'm trying to make my life as stress-free as possible. You know, work is stressful whether you enjoy your job or you hate your job. It's just, it comes with the environment. So like if I'm working 10, 11, 12 hours a day at my job, I don't want to come home and be stressed. I want to come home and relax and you know, have a good time with my wife, or sit down and play a game that's not stressful, you know, and
right.
That's something that I've found myself maneuvering towards in the last year, I would say, you know, so.
I completely understand that, you know, I do, you know, stuff like Mario Kart, the simple, you know, jump in, play a couple rounds and jump out kind of thing. Like that's great. You know, and stuff like, you know, Gears and Halo and every other online multiplayer shooter has its place when you want that good adrenaline pump. But when you're trying to come down, you need something that's not going to get you further wired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I purposely like schedule that game time, like in that space, that gaming space, prepare myself to be like, okay, so on Wednesday nights is when I record a show with my friends, and then we either play Overwatch or Destiny or Gears of War or something competitive. And I'm like, okay, this is the time where like I have to put myself in the right mindset to be like, okay, you're going to be stressed out for a little bit, but you're going to be okay with it because you're telling yourself that this isn't like when you're coming home from work. You are planning this time to have your competitive stress, whatever. And like, it's actually worked out really well for me planning that kind of game time around that day, whereas every other day I can come home, I can play something less stressful, and it's like, I don't know, I guess it would be good time management or whatever, but like, it's actually really helped my overall stress level, you know?
You've created that dedicated manly gaming time where I'm going to sit down and pound 7 Mountain Dews and smash 3 bags of Doritos and kill everything that moves.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
It's like dedicated guy time, yes.
I don't have none of that. Well, I don't pretty much have a life at the right. I mean, because like
dedicated manly gaming time is I'm going to drink 3 chocolate milks and have a Pop-Tart.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, every day we're talking about something in a Facebook chat, and he's like, "I'll be right back. I gotta go get my Taco Bell $5 box," and I'm like, "Gosh, I want Taco Bell so bad."
Or milkshakes or stuff like that. And then sometimes don't even make it. Like, yeah, I was gonna go, but I rolled over to the left and fell asleep.
Oh man.
So,
jeez, $5 box. Can I tell you how good of a deal that $5 box is at Taco Bell?
If you don't preach, go ahead and preach. I'm gonna let you go ahead and minister right now. Because
oh, it's so good. $5 for all that. Oh, I wish I could have one right now. And those sweet.
This episode brought to you by Taco Bell.
And those sweet and spicy tacos are just
I had one. I had one. They're okay.
$1 double decker tacos, yeah.
Oh, so good.
Full habanero.
They're okay. I don't know. I thought they was gonna have like some sauce in it, and they're okay. They're not bad.
You are ruining my taste buds. They are delicious.
Look, all
and the best
food.
thing Taco Bell's added to the menu since the cheesy gordita crunch.
Okay, now that right there, I agree. You minister right now. That I agree. But see, you went to Canada with your wife, and then talked about all that food, and I'm just over here, just like, look at this dry burger from McDonald's. And
I know. Oh, that food was so good too.
And then I get mad because Larry got King Gyros, he got the pancake place, he got all these spots, and I still need to go to the Italian restaurant that he's gonna take me. And I'm just
we gotta
like,
take you to Polito's.
Yes.
We gotta take you to Temper Grill, and we gotta take you over to Hanayori.
yes.
So
Temper Grill, man, all about the lamb pops. Yeah.
So
you guys are making me really hungry right now.
I mean, because the highlight over here in my the highlight over here in my area is a KFC, Popeyes, and a Arby's. I mean, we got McDonald's, Hardee's, and Burger King. Huh? Well, actually, it's because we live closer to the Navy base.
Food selection screams hood.
Yes,
True.
that is true. That I would not deny. And then they just got some Chinese place and some old taco place. Yeah. I had to take a picture of it, of all my food places. All our food restaurants or fast food places are all in one spot. Like, any place to go actually sit down and order and wait for your food is like on a highway that's close to me. That's like the first place. Then everything else you gotta drive 30 minutes to. You gotta go to like a whole nother city.
Jesus.
Yeah, because all the big restaurants is like by Six Flags, Larry. Here and yeah. So
Now I'm just super hungry. So thanks guys.
oh, you're welcome.
I had Chipotle for dinner.
Oh,
I had a double steak burrito from Chipotle, and they didn't charge me for the extra steak.
Okay, I'm gonna just clap my hands right now because you've been blessed.
man.
God was just like, here you go, just have some extra.
Gosh, man, now I'm like super hungry and
Well, Corey, you don't get yelled at about Panda Express like I do. Like, I don't have it that much, but I got yelled at by 3 other people about me getting Panda Express.
Panda Express is terrible.
oh man.
So
I mean, man, I hope we're getting Chinese food this week. We talked about it last week, me and my wife, and now it's like, man, now I want some sweet and sour chicken or like,
oh, yes.
just something, man, something, some fortune cookies. Fortune cookies are secretly the best dessert ever created.
But
I just
then,
want to point that out.
but it's sometimes like 5 of them. And then they're like, like, can you just throw some more extra in?
Yeah, I want like a whole barrel of fortune cookies. I just want to go into a Chinese restaurant and be like,
I am by the bag at like Sam's Club.
But they don't taste right.
The Chinese people are kings of mass production. Where are my cookies, and why am I only getting one? I know there's like 5 million of them back there.
Oh my goodness. Something just crossed my mind. If Girl Scout cookies start doing fortune cookies, I think I would buy like 4 boxes.
gonna be so poor.
Mint chocolate fortune cookies. Get on the Girl Scouts.
Up, bud. Don't you dare get my hopes up, because now, oh man.
I'm just saying. I'm literally just saying, if I walk down the street and I see in the hood that some girls got some mint cookies, fortune cookies from Girl Scouts, I'm buying like 5 of those boxes. Up those boxes, girls. Get it together. Here's your money. Go get your badge and move on.
Dude, this is what we warned you about, Corey. There is no form or function to this show. Just whatever the
there's no form or function in anything that we do either.
Corey, Adrian just sent a question to you. He put 2 question marks like, huh?
I told you. I told Adrian that you were calling him out. He finally responded back. He's like, what?
He's too focused on swatting bugs.
Clearly.
Yeah. But we're going to move on.
The problem is when he releases that game, it'll never be perfect. It'll always be full of fucking bugs.
And we're going to move on.
Adrian.
We're going to move on to the next section because I can't with you at this moment. So, we're going to ask our guest, Corey, here's the pitch. So, Corey, do you have a pitch for a video game or any kind of idea?
Yeah, I do, actually. I have 2, actually.
All right, go ahead.
And both of them involve Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
I want extra mad he wasn't here.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's his fault. That's his fault
Yes.
now. So there was a rumor a long time ago that Rocksteady was going to be working on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, and it never came through. But an open world style, Arkham style game where there's this huge sewer maze underneath the city, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you could upgrade your turtles with like a light RPG element similar to something like Tomb Raider. I think that would be super cool, and like you would learn new moves as you moved through the game. You would unlock new areas of the city as you learn these new moves, or had new modes of transportation, or you could drive the van around, upgrade that van. I also thought that Rocksteady would make an awesome Green Arrow game too, but that's just essentially Batman with bow and arrow, so we'll cut that out. But also, I was thinking of a Metroid style Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game where like the sewer was like this big giant sprawling map, and it was just this underground sewer, and like they were discovering new parts of the sewer, and as you worked your way down, it would be crazier turtle villains like Bebop and Rocksteady and Bowser's and Baxter Stockman, and
you are literally giving me from Ultra Games, aka Konami, the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah, but this one would be good and not ridiculously hard, and you wouldn't have a timed swimming bomb level.
Oh, now if you want to talk about having stress, do not play that game at all. The music is good. I love the overworld music.
Fucking awful.
No, you know where it's at is the 2 that came after it, and then the best Turtles game, Turtles in Time.
I beg to differ with you on that.
The Super Nintendo version, not the arcade version. And yes, they did make a Genesis game called Hyperstone Heist, which is equally as good.
I'm going to beg to differ. You know what? They might be the best Turtles games, but it's still not my favorite. My favorite Turtles game was Turtles 3 on the NES, was Manhattan Project.
Yep, that game was awesome too.
I've never played that one.
Oh my gosh, Ed.
Project.
It was one of those things that, and people don't believe me. I'm just like, sometimes there are games that do get released that don't come up in my area. Like my Toys R Us or KB Toy Store, they never carried it. So I
believe that.
That game was awesome. I do like they took basically what they did with like the Turtles 2 was they ported the arcade game, and it was still just as hard as the arcade game, except you couldn't pump more quarters in to keep going. Where Turtles 3 kind of made it a little bit more manageable to make it through the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
which is what I really liked about that game too.
Well, I know. Well,
it was a lot more varied. It was a lot, to me, it was far more interesting. It's like, hey, we just hijacked the entire island of Manhattan.
Yeah, it was
Great
good.
big floating island in the sky. That shit was BioShock Infinite before BioShock Infinite.
wow. And I think this is when arcade games, when they got ported to console games. I know Manhattan Project was just actually designed for the NES, but like TMNT 2 the arcade game, they added more levels to it. Even with Turtles 4, they added more levels to it because the arcade game level was like 7 levels, I think, and then they added like 3 more for the home consoles.
Yeah, the arcade. Well, shoot, I don't know if did they add levels to 2?
Yeah, they added levels.
I know they changed stuff for Turtles in Time, but I don't know.
No, they added levels. Yeah, they changed some stuff, but they added levels to both games because you remember when they turned there was a weather thing that turned New York into snow, and you fought that snow station because you had to fight the dog with the leather jacket.
Yeah,
he wasn't in the arcade game.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So,
but still.
Oh, the music to that, it was so good.
I've been sitting on this joke since you mentioned it. You know, the one that the Turtles game that was being worked on by Rocksteady Studios there that got canceled.
Yeah.
There's hope yet. I just heard that Bebop Studios picked it up.
Good one. But like, I would really like a good Turtles game. I don't care if it's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Like Ed, we talked a lot about Tournament Fighters the other day.
Yes.
And like, I would love someone to just get that license and say, we're going to give you this whole suite of Ninja Turtles where you're going to have that co-op campaign, and then we're going to put a Tournament Fighters type mode in there with it, and just make it good. Like, I would argue that the last good Turtles games were the Super Nintendo and Genesis ones, like those side-scrolling beat 'em up ones, and like, I know they made the ones based off that second cartoon that were okay on GameCube and PS2. Like, those games were okay at best, and then that one based off the animated movie was not.
I heard that was a disaster.
It was okay, but it was not a Turtles game.
Oh, but the animated movie was fucking awesome.
Yeah, was that the best Turtles thing ever created? Was that fight between Leo and Raph?
I've never seen it.
Film was phenomenal.
I have to watch it. I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh! Like, the movie itself is. That movie was okay, but like, the best fight scene in Turtles history was that fight between Leo and Raph. Oh, so good, so good.
I have to seek it out.
I was a big fan of that scene that was all set to Black Betty. That was great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Man. So good.
Well, everybody, that is our show. But we have an announcement for our winner for our prize. We had people.
We all week have had a post up asking you to share the post and like our Facebook page. And truth be told, but Corey, give me a number 1 through 5.
4.
Who's victim number 4? Daughter. 1, 2, 3. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Michael gets it, and I'll get a hold of him because he lives not far.
Congratulations, Michael, on the win! Yay!
Yay!
So it was entirely random. Corey didn't even know this shit was happening. So if anyone doesn't believe me, blame him.
Sorry, guys.
Oh well.
I do what I do.
What? So we're about to go. Corey,
this is part of the show. Tell you to plug your shit.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at Corey Hudson in HD. and on Instagram at Corey and HD. You can find all of our shows on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Digital Nerd Advocates Network, and on DNAnetwork.net. You can join our Facebook group, the DNA Network community page. You can follow the DNA Network on Twitter at the DNA Network. And, yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming soon, so stay tuned, I guess. Is that how that works? That's how that works.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been doing this for 3 years, and I still don't know how it works, so.
Well, join the club. Well,
Eddie, plug your shit.
you guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode. You can find my podcast, Optional Opinion, on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, or other podcast apps, but you can mostly find it at the AnomousRadioNetwork.podbean.com. You can find World 101 Podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast apps, and it will still soon be on iTunes. But if you want to check our homepage for World 101 Podcast, it's at shoutengine.com. I do a blog series called Optional Opinion on IGN. You can find that under Anime ENIME. This week I just did girls and their questionable worlds, where I talked about girl thing games. So you can check that out. You can also check out some of my writings at skirmishfrogs.com, where I have a series called The Moment. You can check out Connected, Podcast Connected, and Nintendo Pod Sessions on Team Nerd, TEAM, and the number 3 RD, where I do with my good friend Kyle Waite. Also, I am part of the DNA Network, where you can check some of my blogs out, and I rock out with Corey doing Nintendo Power Block, which you can catch on Tuesdays and Fridays. For those episodes, we have great discussions. It's positivity all about Nintendo. And other than that, you can check me on Twitch at The Lyrical One, where I do a Let's Learn series. I should be back to doing that. I got another game coming up that I want to play and show you guys and talk about. You can friend me on Xbox One at The Lyrical One. You can friend me on PSN as Okamical, OKAMICAL. And you can friend me on Wii U under Optional Opinion, all one word.
Jesus, I forgot you so much.
And also you guys can email the show at world101podcast@gmail.com, WORLD11podcast@gmail.com. We want to know what you guys think about how you deal with stress, and as video games, one of the ways that you cope with it. So we would like to hear from you guys about that. Larry?
Find me on Facebook. I run our page and head up the forums page for our show. Also on the Twitters at World1_1 Podcast. As Eddie mentioned, iTunes coming soon. I actually just emailed them, bitching at them 2 days ago, because it's been a week since we resubmitted our request for listing on iTunes. I still haven't gotten a fucking response back yet. So I plan on continuing to rage until that gets resolved. Also, just a heads up, make sure you guys hit up the World 101 Podcast Facebook page, because this week, giveaway number 2, we have one extra copy of She Remembered Caterpillars that we're giving away.
Yeah.
Same rules apply. Like our Facebook page, share the post, you're in. That's it. When we see you guys next week, we'll pick another winner.
Also,
bitch.
Also, listen to the latest episode of Optional Opinion, where I actually have Corey talking about Destiny with me. So do check that episode out. I want to give that plug out there too. It was a very great episode. So
That was a good one. That was fun.
Yes. So
Most fun I've had with Destiny in a year.
So, and with that, everybody, we are out. Any last thing you want to say, Corey, before we go?
Just thanks for having me. I loved it. It was fun. It was good times. Good times.
Larry,
I just want a big shout out to Corey for joining us tonight, more or less on the fly. Big shout out to anyone finally joining us from the DNA Podcast Network. We hope to see more of you guys around. Yeah, That's it. I'm done. I gotta go take some meds because frankly my head's killing me.
Okay.
It's not your fault. It just hurts.
Oh,
so,
Lord. Whatever. And with that, everybody, we are out. Bye.